Oh yes, it's another beautiful day, the third day in the month of in the new month, I must say, and I want to say a happy new month to you. It's the month of September, the 9th month of the year 2025. I'm really excited that I've personally made it this far, and it's amazing looking through the journey from January, February, March, April down to September. And I think you should be grateful too. You should look back into your own life's journey in this year and actually be grateful. I know that there are things that you would love to have achieved, like there are things that you want to have gone with, that you had plans to say yes, this is it, and you're wondering, this is the 9th month, that how am I going to get through it, or is it even possible? Trust me, all things are possible to them that believe. So if you really believe and you put in the work and you don't stop, trust me, it will happen. And it's just me saying happy new month to you and wishing you a prosperous new month. And yes, we're back again on another edition of World Bank Kingdom Conversation for this week, and it's super amazing to be here. I'm glad. It's always a pleasure to be here. My name is 𝗪𝗘𝗗𝗡𝗦𝗄, and like I said, it's a pleasure to be here as we engage tonight on another interesting theme. So last month our focus was on how to deal with economic anxiety and price fluctuations, and then in all of that conversation was that there has to be multiple source of income, that we can't just rely on a particular one, or in terms of diversifying, that you can't just think about just staying on one ground, that this is how you want to do it, but that you can explore and find things to do or things to add to that. And another thing I learned from last month is how to cut down when things change and when things become unpredictable. But now we're in a new month and we have our theme to run with, and the thing we're going to be running with for this month is multiple income streams. And I have my guest who is beautifully, or let me say handsomely seated here tonight, and is going to be helping us to make sense of the conversation tonight, even as we dig deeper. And I must say that last month was great, and I'm hoping that this month too will also help us to make sense of this idea of not just multiple income streams, but this idea of wealth and having a strong economic foothold as we live through, even as believers. And I have my guest here in the person of Pastor 𝗪𝗘𝗓𝗪𝗓. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. It's good to be here.
How's your day been, sir?
Oh, well, fine.
All right, just in case, okay, I want to assume that some will just be meeting Pastor 𝗪𝗘𝗓𝗪𝗓, but to us is our brother, is our friend, is our pastor. And yes, but just in case you don't know him, 𝗪𝗘𝗓𝗪𝗓 is passionate about enterprise development and management. His core areas of interest are business systems development, financial record keeping and reconciliations, finance sourcing, training and research. His work experience in the banking sector further strengthens this interest, as his goal is to facilitate business enterprises, including cooperative businesses, that transcends generations across various economic sectors, improving the quality of lives of the people and impacting significantly the GDP of the nation. There's a whole lot I can read to that, but just to give you a perspective and the background from where he's coming from, and I think I'll be leaning more into that background to draw from his wisdom over his years in finance systems, and especially working with enterprises. So glad to have you once again, sir.
Thank you very
much. And I think the place to start for me will be, why multiple income streams? If I have a decent job, if I have a business, yes, maybe sometimes I have hiccups here and there, but why multiple income streams?
Well, if you look at it from the point of view of creating wealth, you definitely must have multiple income streams if you're looking at it from that perspective. Then secondly, I think you just while introducing the introductory part of this meeting, you spoke about the topic discussed last month, and you'll find out that talking about economic downtime, you'll find out that people always tend to lean towards multiple streams of income, especially when the actual income they have is not enough to take care of and this time it's actually even talking about the immediate needs not something extra. Because if you look at it, I think we're just 2 years into the Tinubu administration. Over 2 years. And when Tinubu came in, naira to dollar was about 800 thereabout, and just by mere pronouncement it jumped to almost closing to about 2,000. So now it's stabilizing at about 1,500, 1,600 thereabout, and even as at that, between 800, that's almost still times 200% increase. So you'll find out that what the capacity of the income you had at that time is not as much as what it's going to be able to do in this dispensation. So and so I think the brilliant thing to just do is to find a way to lean and gain some other income streams, so that you'll be able to meet up, like I said, at least just with basic necessities alone, to even before you now talk about living an extravagant lifestyle.
And the reason why I started with why is so that you can also know the meaning, right?
Okay.
So you, from your own experience as an enterprise developer, how would you define multiple income streams?
Well, if you're looking at it in terms of business, because that's what enterprise is all about, because even as a business, you find out that you really cannot afford to have just one income stream for your business. And the reason why I say that is because okay, let me give an example. I think, well, I'm sure that a lot of people in church know, but for those who don't know, who might be listening for the first time, I run a fashion business with my wife, and it is very interesting that over the years, in actual fact, over the years, clothing production had brought in the chunk of finance for us. But interestingly, during the COVID-19 period, an aspect we actually never even envisaged. That was just, and you know, the funny thing was that that's in the area of producing face masks during the COVID-19. We had to get into that. But you find it interesting now, because one of the things I also try to do in business is I look at data, I look at statistics in the business, and for that particular year alone, of all the clothing productions, that, because what I also do in the business is that I break down, even when it comes to clothing production, I still break down into parts to be able to know which one is actually the in thing. And it's very interesting that particular year, 80-90% of the income was from face mask production.
Whoa.
And to such an extent that even the previous, you know, the funny thing is that even in the previous years, what we were able to do, the margin on the clothing, on the face mask is just about maybe 15 naira per one. That's the margin after all expenses, 15 naira. But it's very interesting that in one single day, we bought 3 machines from 50 naira.
Wow.
Very interesting. Which we were not even able to do when we had the real clothing stuff that we were doing. And the reason is simple, is because of the volume. Yeah, because of the volume. Because we're doing maybe almost like 2,000, 3,000 face masks in a day. So because of the volume. Now, we may not really look at that in the big context of multiple income streams, but if you look at it in the microcosm of it, the fact that we broke down our clothing production into parts, what we did was that we had a section where it talks about couture. That means where people walk in, you take their measurements, you see for them. We had this what we call brand production, where you do more of mass production in terms of t-shirts and all the rest. Now we have this one face mask production. So we were able to see the difference even from that part, and you, in a sense, you can look at that as multiple streams of income. Now, and I'll tell you the reason why it is multiple streams of income, because most of the people in the clothing business, I don't mean the mega people now, at the small scale level, what most people are doing is either one of these parts. So which means they are zeroed in on maybe couture production, where people have to come in and they take measurements for them. So that's looking at it in that micro level. But now, as so I was talking about that during the COVID-19. I think it was last year, because we also have this other arm in our business, which is the consulting arm. And last year, what brought us the profit last year was not clothing business.
Wow.
It was consulting. It was consulting. So now, what am I trying to bring out of that? Is the fact that when we talk about multiple income streams, and I don't disagree with what I'm about to say now. I don't disagree with people about it. You could look at multiple income streams in terms of different stuffs. Maybe you're into housing, you invest in this, you invest in that. Yes. Fantastic. But you can also look at income streams in terms of the value chain of the business that you are in. So that's why I said that, for example, in the fashion business, we have an arm, which is the training arm. We have the production arm, which is the clothing production. We even have the community arm.
Wow.
Yes, and we have the consulting arm. Those are the 4 parts. But even this 4 parts is still broken down into different parts. So in a nutshell, in the business, for example, you could be looking at almost like 10 streams of income in the business. Yes, the challenge right now is that we are not focusing so much to get the benefit, but once in a while you find out that this aspect springs up, and you are able to now say, oh, there's something to this thing, maybe that we can push, that we can do so much in terms of. So basically what I'm just trying to say is that sometimes you need to look at multiple income streams from the point of view of what is in this portion that I'm doing, and that will relate back to this scenario in scriptures in Genesis. I think it's one of the scriptures most people use when it comes to multiple streams of income. The rivers. But you'll find it interesting in that particular Genesis, I think chapter 1, chapter 2 or thereabout. You'll find something interesting in that particular scripture. It didn't talk about 4 streams coming into one. It actually talked about 1 stream splitting into 4.
Okay.
So which means that if you are able, and I will do a backtrack on what I'm about to say, not negating what I'm saying, but so that people will understand. You'll find out that sometimes what happens is this: when you focus in on one and you build it, you are able to now translate. See what Dangote is doing, for example. He created a refinery. I'm not even speaking about all the other businesses. He created a refinery. Now you see that it's getting into distribution.
Yes.
But something interesting, in getting into distribution, you'll see that it's getting into energy, CNG.
Yes.
Just from the refinery. That is what I feel that scripture in Genesis is talking about, where you're able to create one big one and it dovetails into the other part. But now, I said I'll backtrack on that. Is that, but you also need to find out that you need to try a lot of things first. And when you see one that succeeds, then you now focus on that one that succeeds to now build it to a magnitude that is also still able to spread out and generate multiple revenues for you. Talk about the Facebook, talk about all the billionaires in this world. It's not just one business. It's not one. It's multiple. Facebook, for example, even on Facebook alone, there's advertisement.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things just from that one item. So sometimes it might pay a lot of us, rather than dissipating a lot of energy on trying to do several things. Why don't you focus on a particular area and begin to look at the value chain in that particular area of focus, and you begin to create your income streams around that.
Honestly, this is fantastic. I'm telling you, this is fantastic information. But there are these people, they call themselves serial entrepreneurs. So how do those ones succeed? How is it that they find, where do they find their own success?
Well, serial entrepreneurs doesn't necessarily mean that when you try a business, it must fail. I think if we think from that particular point of view, we're getting it wrong. Serial entrepreneurship simply means that you are creating one business after the other. So, but it doesn't necessarily mean, but I'm sure that because of the climb we are in, there's a likelihood that you've tried something out, it doesn't work, then you now move to something else, and all of a sudden we now think that that is serial entrepreneurship. Yeah, it might be, but I'm saying that it is not necessary that whatever business you do must fail. Let me use that word, must fail, for you to go into another one to think that, okay, now do you think Dangote is a serial entrepreneur?
I think it's just an entrepreneur.
He is. It started with food.
Mm-hmm.
From food, it moved into cement. Sorry, not in that particular order, but you understand what I'm saying. It moved into cement. From cement, it moved into something else. From something else.
Even with the food, there were other options he had to go into.
No, but I'm even categorizing it now into sectors now. Then he now moved into fertilizer. He's now moved into oil and gas and all the rest. So that's a serial entrepreneur. But one of the things that you need to, and I think people must get this, and that is when it comes to the concept of failure. Even when you've tried something else, you've not really failed. What you've done is you've learned, and what you really need to do is to build on what you have learned to create the next one. But the challenge we have with most people is that they discount what they've learned
because it didn't work.
Because they think it didn't work. But it is a learning phase for you to build on that to ultimately now create something that will work. And most often times even maybe something bigger at the end of the day. So if because that's one of the benefits of being a serial entrepreneur, you're able to learn because there are networks that you will have built. You know, let me give an example. You know, today I won't mention where I went, but I went somewhere at the meeting. I went somewhere to see someone, but unfortunately the person wasn't around, so I now had to see another person. And in the process of discussing, we now spoke about, I just mentioned an idea about cooperative. And you know, the interesting thing from that conversation, you know what the person, and the truth of the matter is that the cooperative is going to be a big one.
Wow.
But it will also be matched with education.
Oh.
You know the interesting thing about when I spoke about it, you know what the person did? The person just turned to me and said, "Will you manage it?"
Wow.
I'm serious. That will you manage it? That was what the person spoke to me about. Now this is it. But all these years I've been working on cooperative frameworks and all the rest. Some succeeded, quite a number of it has failed. But now there's another opportunity, almost how many years down the line, of that same thing. And on this particular platform, it will be a much bigger platform. We're talking of a cooperative that is going to have nothing less than maybe 2,000 members. So, but if I had discounted that and felt that no, because it didn't work, because then I failed, and you discount the knowledge, you discount the networks, when the opportunity now presents itself in the nearest future, you will find out that you are not able to take advantage of it because you never valued the lessons you had learned even from. Now sorry, I'm using Dangote a lot because it's more in the news now.
At least we have a Nigerian example.
At least, yes. So now think about Dangote. Dangote did all of those businesses, but one of the things we may not really see in everything that is helping Dangote out is that in doing the food business, the cement business, do you know that Dangote had created a chain of suppliers? Which ultimately the refinery is going to latch on to get its product easily.
The success of one,
the supply chain of the whole thing, and that is why we cannot afford to think that because, or let me say, we can't just say that because, or connote serial entrepreneurship to be maybe someone that has tried something out and has failed. No, it's not just only about the failure part of it, but it's also the fact that you've created something, moved from one sector to another, and everything ultimately will add up for you to be able to get the benefit.
And you know, one of the highlights of everything you've said in this short while for me is that we should not despise our experiences.
No, not
in
at all.
all the ventures that you have tried, the experiences matter. If you can document them to say this was why this didn't work, and this is what I'm going to do next time. But let me take it back to when you were explaining to us about the fact that it's not necessarily about trying new things. It's about you taking from that one that you have and then spreading it and then building on that one thing up until the time you can expand. So that's that. My question now is that how can a person, especially a professional, so let's say I work as a banker, let's say I work basic 9 to 5, I report to my workplace 9 to 5 in a particular sector in an industry. When do I know, or when does it become valid for me to say, okay, let me now try this on my own, that in this sector that I've been able to expand? When does it become valid?
Sorry, I will flip the question a bit. I may not answer it directly the way you've put it. Is that because sometimes thinking on hindsight is because I've worked 9 to 5 before, and I think that is one of the best experience that I have enjoyed up till this stage. Because so yeah, let me just leave it at that. But again, is that if you are 9 to 5, one of the benefits or one of the plus people don't realize about 9 to 5 is that yes, you may not have your time, but you have a steady income.
Okay.
You have money to play with. So the only thing that should now be your core interest is how well do you manage that resource that is in your hand.
Oh, okay. Indeed, you flipped it.
Yes. So because the thing is this, and please, I also feel that maybe society and a lot of messages in time past that people have heard to say that, oh, you are working at somebody else's job. Believe you me, if you start your own job, is somebody not going to work at your job? So it's not a curse for you to work for somebody else. It's not. Because in actual fact, I can tell you that if you drop that, I know the sacrifices I am making for not being in a night.
Speaking from experience,
yes,
now.
Especially from the kind of job I left. You get the point. So I think that what people in 9 to 5 really need to do is that, yes, I have this income. How do I manage this income in such a way that I can begin to multiply that income? And one of it is to now see, okay, what investment portfolios are available for me without necessarily, you know, the funny thing is that even in that business that you are in, or in that organization that you are in, if for example, well, it may not be all, but take for example, if you work in a bank, you'll find out that there are financial instruments in the banking, in that same bank that you can invest your money in. And that will generate.
And because you work in that bank, you have foresight, you have certain insights that most outsiders don't have.
Yes, absolutely. But let me say, if you are open to it, because most people in 9 to 5 business, they are close to the opportunities in the business. They are looking for opportunities outside.
Wow.
Not seeing the opportunities inside the business that they are in. So that's number one. Number two is then you can now begin to look at, do I have friends that are into business that I can trust? Because the aspect of trust is important. And believe me, when I say trust doesn't mean that your money won't be lost.
There are market forces playing around.
It doesn't mean that your money won't be lost. It is just the fact that you trust that person enough to know that even if that person is telling you that, the business went bad, but even in a sense, you should also be involved. You may not be in the day-to-day running of that person's business, but you might also be involved in terms of maybe from time to time you're asking for reports, you are giving your input and all the rest. Because the world of entrepreneurship, especially in this part of the world, is not easy. Take, for example, the big companies of the world. They have boards. They have what have you. They can easily pay for research team to do research. But an entrepreneur doesn't have that finance to be able to do that. But you can be a sounding board for that entrepreneur to ensure that his business is also successful. Then you can look at other instruments, other financial instruments. There is the one by the federal government.
Yes.
And even right now, I think that is even paying so much because the government needs a lot of foreign exchange coming in.
But some will say it's quite expensive, that it's for the big boys.
No, I don't think so.
Is that not the bond?
Yes.
The government
I don't
bond.
think so. I think it is. I don't know the minimum amount, but I know that it is not. It's not way off. But let us even assume that it's way off. If you're in a 9 to 5, you can save up to. But just make sure that wherever you are saving your money, it should be in a savings account that is also adding, not in a current account that they are deducting charges. So it should be in a savings account that is still adding something to the money until when you're able to. People have talked about the aspect of land. You can make, but also you have to be careful when it comes to land and all the rest because of the So, but the truth of the matter is that is there really any business that doesn't have its complexities? It does, but which also means that you have to study, you have to research well, and I always tell people that a business that, number one, is either you are involved in that business or you have someone you can so trust in that business. If you don't have any of those two, don't invest in that particular business or investment. But if you are sure that you're involved in it, or you're sure that you have someone that you can trust who is involved in it, then I think it's a good deal for you.
Interesting. And what I find interesting about it is how you actually flipped it to say that you don't necessarily have to look at it in terms of business, but financial instrument where you can put your money into.
The reason why I said so is that because at the end of the day, what are you looking for? Is to multiply your income. No, because that's listen, it's different, because sometimes people in entrepreneurship, interestingly, I also just concluded my
PhD?
No, not yet.
Masters?
Yeah, my master's not fully completed, but the theoretical part of it in entrepreneurship.
Wow.
So there are quite a lot of theories that we ran through in class that was very fantastic. I just said, oh, wow, interesting. Because sometimes, now what am I trying to bring out of that is this. Some people are getting into entrepreneurship not so much because of the money, but because of the achievement status.
So your why is very important.
Yes, that I built it. But if we are looking, because the reason why I'm zeroing in on this is because we are looking at multiple streams of income. And I feel that the bottom line of the multiple streams of income is that you have more than enough resources to be able to meet your needs. So that objective is very important. So if the objective is that you want to multiply the funds that is in your hands, then your goal is not to establish a business. Your goal is to look at what avenue, genuine, that is not fraudulent, that you are putting your resources in, and that is generating revenue for you.
So it's about multiplying your income.
That is it. Basically. It's not about you want to. Now I'm saying specifically based on my understanding of this topic. So it's basically you just want to increase your income. That's the bottom line. So it's not.
So then that means. So what about concepts like active income, passive income? So what will they fall into now in this idea of simply multiplying your revenue or income?
Well, the way active income and passive income is simply defined is that active income speaks to you being involved. That's what active income. Then passive income is you are not so much. Take for example, you go to a 9 to 5. You are involved in how that income comes in. You put your money in a government bond. You are not
the one overseeing it. Is just you putting your money.
You're not the one overseeing it, and it is just returning investment returns for you. So that's my own understanding of what active income. And the truth of the matter is this: sometimes sometimes it's because there are a lot of things that we've heard in time past that you are looking at nowadays, especially with the experience that you have, and you're looking at it. That sometimes people say that when you now talking back to entrepreneurship now, even the aspect of passive income. Let's look at it really. If you really look at it, is it really passive? Are you really not involved? Because
you have to track it.
Thank you. Because you have to track it to be sure that your money but you may not be as active as the one that is
taking your time.
Now, the reason why I'm bringing this out is this, so that people don't fall into that trap to think that because I've put my money there, I just need to go to sleep. I don't need to do anything. No.
I think I fall into that category
Yes,
too.
you still have to check. You still have to check. You still have to check. Oh, what is, for example, government bond? Though that is at least to a reasonable extent safe because it is government. But you also find out that government also sometimes fails too. And we don't pray we have a failed government, but it's the fact that you still have to watch. Oh, what is this saying? What is that saying? Don't let me. I'll just so I just feel that, so to a reasonable extent, you still find out that even when we talk about passive income, doesn't mean that you totally go to sleep. You still have some responsibilities that you have to do to still ensure that even if there is a promise that if it fails, your money will be, you still have your money back. But sometimes it might take time before you get the money back, if at all you get it back at the end of the day.
So now I want you to talk to this concept of recognizing opportunities, because when you shared your own story, that was like the summary of everything. You were able to calm down and see opportunities where someone else could have said, really, let's just pass over it. But in terms of opportunity, recognizing opportunities, both as a professional and both as an entrepreneur,
I think opportunities are everywhere. Somebody says, there's this quote, sorry, I may not quote it accurately. Somebody says that opportunity is dressed up working in work clothes. There are opportunities everywhere, all around you. There are opportunities. Now, the thing is this, I think it just stems from your mindset. Because if, for example, your mindset is, there's this slang, well, I don't know whether it's a slang, but you can help me out. There's this saying now, soft life.
Okay, soft life, yeah.
Soft life. There's nothing like soft life. Now, that's the truth. There's nothing like soft life, because you'll find out that even somebody is delivering soft life to you, the person is not going through, is not having anything soft, because the person has to make some hard decisions. This person has to go through some rigors and everything. So the point is this. Then, like I said, it's basically mindset is from the fact that what do you see? Now, I think I've shared this before. I can't, but I think it's still good. I'm sharing again. Take, for example, when it comes to government policies and all the rest and whatever is happening in the country, people are always, because it's easy to blame the other person, people are always, and when they blame government, they are not really blaming government, they are blaming one person, the president. Now, when Nigerians began to migrate, the 𝗪𝗪𝗡 of a thing, do you know well, maybe because I'm not so much interested in all this traveling out and all the rest, I saw an opportunity. An opportunity in the sense that people are migrating, our culture is migrating. So which means that our market is migrating. Then which means that rather than serve local market, I can begin to serve international markets.
Wow.
I'm sure if you've checked our Facebook profile or our social media platform, you see there was a product that I immediately designed, styling diaspora. That means making clothing for Nigerians, and I know that by extension, other nationals who like our clothing will also be a customer. So for me, I saw it as an opportunity. And number two is that by the time they take their the dollar and they send it back home, it becomes more money
for you,
for us. So I saw it as an opportunity, and that's why I said that. So rather than sit back and begin to think that, oh, this problem, especially when it is not a problem that is collapsing on you alone. If it is collapsing on you alone, yes, it might. I'm not saying that you should even succumb to that. No, that's not what I'm saying. But it might be pretty difficult because it is only affecting you. But if it is something not affecting you, then all you should be looking at is the opportunity in this thing, rather than, joining the bandwagon of people and be telling them that this naira to dollar. There's nothing you can do about naira to dollar. There's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. But what you can do is that, can I position myself? Can I position my business? Then can I also say something to this? Sometimes what we also fail to look at is our intellect. That is there a skill that I have? Is there? And when I mean skill now, I don't mean maybe vocational skill. I mean intellectual skill that you can deliver, that will earn you
intellectual skills.
Because let me tell you, don't let me use the word despise. We underrate that a lot. I'm serious.
The experience you've gathered over the years.
Yes, we underrate it. We underrate it a lot. And we don't see that, because then again, maybe because we've zeroed everything to money. I always tell people, I always say this quote. I say that you can start a business without money.
How?
Wait, I've not finished. I said you can start a business without money, but you can't start a business without capital.
Oh, okay.
They are two different. Money is part of capital. Capital is broad.
Yes.
You have intellectual capital. You have social capital, your network. Then you have money. You will find out that most of the time, even people that are successful in business, most of the time, it is not so much of the money they have. It is so much of the social capital and the intellectual capital that they have. It is those two that translate into financial capital. But we discount it. We discount it a lot. And we're all focused on money. But if you go back to even history, you'll find out that human beings, we didn't start with money. So what were they spending when there was no money?
So I think the reason why many of us downplay the intellectual capital is this feeling of insufficiency. So how can, and I think I fall into that category too currently. So how some also fall into the category of how to even structure it to say, yes, I know all of this, but how do you then present it to make sense to someone else, right? So how can you help us for someone who has that feeling of insufficiency, for someone who is still trying to figure out a way to put a structure to that intellectual capital in terms of dispensing it that will now come back to become financial capital?
I'm trying to say a way to. Now, let me. The easiest way is this, which is often where a lot of us start from, is that the moment you finish school, the first thing is get a job. What you are doing is you are translating your intellectual capital for financial capital. That's what you're doing. Then maybe also you're accompanied with your time. But then again, you also but then, because I know that one of the challenges we have right now is because of our environment. I think I was still reading something, maybe this morning or I think today, that somebody was writing about how we've downplayed intellectualism in this country to such an extent, sorry, not my words, the words of the person I read, that a girl was the mathematics champion.
Yeah.
They gave her 200,000, but those who went to play football, and yeah, we might say people have different opinions, but you will find out that to a reasonable extent, and you will also, sorry, I know I didn't finish that statement, but I'm sure that people should understand what I'm trying to get across there. But you'll also find out that even when it comes to business, somebody that is putting money down thinks that is doing a lot more favor than the person that is only bringing his wealth of experience to play. And the reason is simple, is because to a reasonable extent, the money or the financial capital the person is putting down can be valued, while the intellectual stuff is, in a sense, intangible. It's intangible. But I may not be able to go into the real, because there are ways by which you can, and I'm sure that accountants, economics are able to do a lot in terms of that, because even in the financials, go and check financials, especially of big organizations, they have what is called intangible assets.
Yes.
So they have what is called intangible assets, which means that they are able to translate those things that are intangible. You know, the funny thing is that even in some financials, you will see on their asset there is what is called goodwill.
Yes.
So there are ways by which all of these things can be calculated. But however, the easiest way for you to do it is this. Let me just bring it into layman's stuff. The easiest way for you to do it is this: is that if you are asking for that service from somebody else, how much will that person charge you? Then that's the reasonable thing to charge. Not charge higher. Because sometimes you may think that because it is yourself, you want to charge higher. But I think that basically what a lot of people just need to do is to own that. See, let me tell you, forget whatever anybody has said about going to school. Going to school is an asset. It is an asset. And so what you now need to do is that, number one, the fact that you went through the rigors of schooling. I don't know, somebody... sorry, I've not read 𝗪𝗘𝗗𝗡𝗦𝗄's book, but you'll find it interesting that 𝗪𝗘𝗗𝗡𝗦𝗄 is writing about being... because he's successful, he's writing about being a dropout from school. And things like that. You know, all of a sudden, people now become impoverished because you want to make a story that you've become successful. And that is, even I think there was a point in time that Davido was saying that he was from a humble background.
I mean,
no, the reason why they do that is because it makes the story sweet.
Good.
𝗪𝗘𝗗𝗡𝗦𝗄 might have dropped out of school, but he is from a privileged family. His father was, I think, governor of Lagos State. He is from a privileged. So the truth of the matter is that he leveraged the network, more of the network that he had at his disposal, to galvanize the wealth that he has right now. So now, leaving that aside, is the fact that the intellectual part of it, like I said, there are ways by which these things are calculated. But what you just is simple. You studied as an accountant. What will an accountant that just leaves school will be paid if he gets employment? Then that's reasonably what you should charge. But don't also forget that you have to also look at your customer base, because an accountant with the state government is different from an accountant that works for the federal government. Is different from an accountant that works for a conglomerate.
Hi.
Even though all of them are just at the same level, they just stepped out of school. So, but I think that is just the easiest way for you to look at how much you can charge for your intellectual.
Interesting. Now I have a question, and this one I think is coming from a personal experience, right? We're talking about serial entrepreneur, and you explained to us that it's not necessarily about someone failing and going there, but I found myself to do one. Okay, I really want to see this through, and then this is not. Okay, for example, there was a time I was working on a website where to connect musicians together, for maybe a music director looking to hire a musician. They could just do the website, more like this guy's Upwork now, but this one now be for musicians. I tried it. It didn't work. I had to just scrap it, and then now I'm onto something currently. I'm still currently struggling with it. What will be and of course you've also established that it's not so much about that the service we do to ourselves is that we neglect the lessons from all of that. But now we're still here, and I think I want to speak for other people like me too, that we are now here, we are onto something, and we have this, we are passionate about it, that it will really work and all of that, but it's still not working as, because you've spent months thinking, re-strategizing, doing it again, but it's not at that point where you want it to be. What should be the guiding light? What will be the guiding light? What will be the way forward? What should be the principle? What should be the wisdom in navigating such terrain?
Well, now the way I want to look at it is this: is that I think that is part of the challenges that we've also had in time past, in terms of what has been passed down as relating to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not passion alone, especially if you do not have something that will and most often times where most of us, because I wouldn't say I've been there really, but I have an idea about it, is that you can't think when you're hungry.
Yes.
In actual fact, you can't bring a team of people together when none of you has resources to take care of the rest. And oftentimes that is what kills. So it is not so much of the idea won't be successful. It is so much of the circumstances surrounding what you are doing as at that point in time that just makes you to, because, okay, take for example, when I left the banking industry, apart from the fact that I had my own resources, I had people give me resources. I'm serious. I had people give me resources. But then again, so so what we should now be looking at, that's why I said that business or anything in life is basically about principles, understanding the principles of that thing. So if, for example, you have an idea, the next thing you should be looking for is that who believes in that idea that has the resource to put into it. Because if you are the one that has the idea, your resource is not that. You will last only to the extent of when that resource lasts. And you now think you have failed. No, you have not failed. It's just that you've not taken care of other aspects of the things that you need to put together. Now, take for example, somebody wants to develop an app. Yes, it might be good in developing the app, but it doesn't have money to host or to buy. What is going to happen? It's not going anywhere.
In fact, same thing with me. As at 2023, I had one mad idea for, I had one great idea for a website, for a blog site that I will churn out great content, no money to host. I just said, let it go.
You now get, so oftentimes that's where the problem is. So the next thing you now need to be looking at is that number one is, and that is what a lot of people also fail to understand, is that when you get a job, you are not only getting money, you're also getting the network that organization or company you are working for as. That's what you're also getting from them, apart from just the monthly remuneration you get or whatever remuneration you get. You're also getting the network of people in that organization, and that is why you can't afford to treat things lightly. Now, let me give an example, going back into scripture, because we should not also forget that this is also a Christian
conversation.
Conversation. All right. So is this? Do you think that Joseph will have gotten to the palace if he had not built the right network in prison? That is, even God himself still makes sure that he uses people. But Joseph would not have built that relationship if he was nasty, because he was looking at just his situation alone. And most often times what we do is this: because maybe you have not gotten the desired job, the one you are working at or on presently, you are being nasty to people. You are missing your opportunities. Because it might be that person that you are nasty to that will be your link to the next platform that you should get to. So, and that is why I am looking at all of this, even in the topic we're looking at, especially the direction you've driven us to that. Even in terms of attaining these multiple income streams, you should also understand that there are a lot of factors involved. It's not just only about the monetary part alone. It's also about the social network, the social capital that you are building along the way. It's also about the intellectual capital you are building along the way. Okay, now let me give you an example. There was a project, I said we do consulting even in fashion. There's a project that we're working on, writing textbooks for junior secondary school across Nigeria. Now, it's not paying us. We're actually spending our money to put on the text right now. But at the end of the day, once the text is developed, it is printed, we begin to earn royalties. As at that time, you can now say it is passive income. But when we are working now, it's not passive. Do you get the gist? But I could have said that, no, we don't have the resources, but we had to bring in the skill that we have, the intellect that we have to put that together. And more importantly, the network that we are building on daily basis is expanding, and it is also creating other network for us, which we are easily leveraging to get us.
Fantastic. And just to drop this, I feel that another thing that we also miss is this idea of a residual income. So for example, and thankfully we have more of that now. If you're a creator, for example, you have a YouTube channel, what you have is a residual income, so that if you've been able to get your channel up to a point that is monetized, so long as all you just need to do is just be putting content, and there is something for you. You are a writer. You write stuff. You write all of your knowledge. It's not in a book. It's somewhere there. They're just buying it. It's I think we sometimes also miss on that one. Lastly, now you said something that struck me, that the whole essence basically is to be able to multiply our income, multiply our wealth and all of that. And that's why this multiple income streams is here as a conversation, that the whole essence of everything is to basically multiply our income. But my question now is that, as believers, what should be our mindset in terms of wealth and in terms of multiplying wealth, or let me say in terms of increasing our financial capacity?
In terms of, let me quote this scripture. It says that I wish above all things, because I think that for me connotes what is wealth when it comes to Christian basis. It says that I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as what?
Your soul prospers.
As your soul prospers. So for me, it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of your intellect. It's a combination of your social network. It's a combination of your health status. Because, if care is not taken, the challenge we will have is this. We will end up using our health to get the wealth. And when we get the wealth, we'll start spending. That's if at all you get the wealth anyway. You now start spending the same wealth to recover your wealth. I don't think that's the biblical basis for wealth. It is all encompassing. It is all encompassing. And when you understand all of these things, you are able to place them. It's like balanced diet. Balanced diet is not 50-50 of everything. It will be 20% of protein.
Yes.
Yeah, so you'll be able to apply that. Oh, maybe 20% of your intellect, 30% of your social network, 15% of your health, and all of that. So I feel that it is all encompassing, because if you're able to bring all of these things into play. Now, when you look at all this billionaires that we talk about, I think there was the other day, I'm not sure whether I read it somewhere or I heard someone say it. Okay, I think Pastor said it on a particular Sunday. I can't remember. On a particular Sunday, that even Elon Musk, with all his wealth, is the richest man in the world, sleeps in his office.
Yeah.
No, now think, how much have you earned? And you are sleeping on your bed every night. Now, what that speaks to is not as if he can't sleep on his bed, but it just speaks to the kind of work ethic that he has to want to try to stay on top of things. And that has to do with a lot of, not just only intellect, but because you know massively you will be studying about a lot of things. So how much more us? So that's why I said that it's not so much in terms of, because when we talk about money, everybody is thinking that no, but you find out that you need a high capacity thinking to be able to multiply that resource that is in your hands. Why do you think Dangote had to cry out when he finished this? He just completed a $20 billion, and people were like, but do you know what I feel helped Dangote? I don't have the inside story. So What I feel 𝗪𝗢𝗡𝗦𝗥 was his network, social capital. That's what I feel helped him. So we need a combination of all of those things for you to now say that at the end of the day, you are, let me tell you, Kayode, if you meet someone today and the person holds your hand and say, Kayode, I'm taking you to Tinubu and he's going to give you a contract. And out of the contract, you make maybe like $1 million, for example. Except you tell us that it was social capital that did it. Do you get? And most oftentimes, this is how these things play out. It is when, and for example, some people just get one information here and there, and they be, okay, take for example, somebody in government hears that 𝗪𝗢𝗡𝗏 Makinde is doing 110 road. And you now see that people are flocking in to buy land there. The road has not been constructed. And somebody will now say they multiply. No, it is not the money that multiplied money. It is the information they get, social network, with now applying their intellect to now put the resources in that thing, and all of a sudden it begins to multiply. So I feel that it is a combination of all of those things. And when we realize that, and it is not just only about the money that we are focused on, I think we'll be fine home and dry.
Thank you very much for such an insightful conversation. But for me, if you ask me, the highlight of everything, I got to like two things. That the only sense for me is that you want to multiply your income.
Yeah, as far as this topic, the discussion,
the idea is to multiply your income.
You can look at it from other perspectives. As far as this perspective,
and the other part about leveraging the experiences, leveraging your experiences. It doesn't matter whether you tried one thing and it didn't work. What did you learn from all of that? And how can you use that learning experience to propel you forward as you move on in on this journey of building wealth, expanding wealth, so that you can have even if it's just at the least to enjoy the basic things of life. And I hope that all of these things will reach your soul. Special thanks to Pastor Olumide for taking us through that journey. I hope that you've been blessed, and most importantly, if you think that this has been helpful, if you think that if you found value in all of this that we discussed, please do share it with your network. Yes, we spoke about network, and that's another thing that I took home again. Even though I know about it, it was reinstated again. Network. Who are the people around you? How do you treat the people around you as a small business owner? Yes, you are trying to grow. What's your customer service like, such that you can even use that, so that people can begin to preach your own gospel for you, to say, try this person, even though the product might still be, but he will attend to you like a human being, will attend to you with quality, will attend to you with respect and honor. So please do that. If you're a professional, you've learned to that today, that it's not so much about trying to have an entrepreneur status to say, yes, this is my business. It can be as little as looking into financial instruments that you have around you that you know that can work. We spoke about the fact that at least as a salary earner, you at least have a sort of steady, consistent income, even though you might think it may not be much to even cater for your everyday, but at least if you can find something out of it to leverage and put into some financial instrument, you don't necessarily have to be active on. Please do that. And once again, I hope that you've been blessed. I hope that you got value. Please do share to your network. Let them know that this is what you are enjoying here. And this is to remind you again that on Saturday we have a leaders meeting by 7 a.m. and by Sunday we resume our regular service time by 8 a.m. for Real Success Seminar, and by 9:30 a.m. we have the network service. And this month we're looking at a theme for me. I'm super excited about the theme for the network service: Kings and Priests with Audacity. I really want to learn about that, and I hope that you can come along too. Once again, special thanks to Pastor Olumide for joining in today. We'll go again next week by 6 p.m. right here at the Bridge Network City Church. Please do join in. Until we see you again, God bless you.